Voices in the junkyard. The junkyard was quiet except for the sound of wind brushing against rusted metal. Eli walked slowly, his boots crunching over broken wires and sharp bolts. He had been a scrap scavenger for many years. Every morning he came early to find something useful. Old machine parts, battery cells, sometimes food packs left in old transport units. But today, something was different. Eli paused, his head turned sharply. He heard it again. Not wind, not a machine. It was a voice. No, not just a voice, a cry. A weak, frightened cry, like a child. He dropped his metal detector and moved closer to the sound. It was coming from a pile of crushed cargo crates near the far end of Sector 9, the most dangerous corner of the junkyard. No one went there. It was full of collapsed ship pieces and sharp steel. "Hello?" Eli called out carefully. "Is someone there?" No answer. Then, another sound. Sniffling. Small. Afraid. He climbed the pile, pushing aside bent metal and tangled wires. And there, under a broken solar wing, he saw movement. Two figures. A small alien girl, covered in dirt, her big violet eyes full of fear. She was holding onto a taller shape. Her mother. The woman looked barely alive, her skin pale, bruised, and her arm bleeding. They looked like they hadn't eaten in days. The girl gasped and tried to shield her mother with her tiny body. "Please, don't hurt us," she whispered in broken English. "We won't take anything, we just needed a place to hide." Eli raised both hands. "I'm not here to hurt you, I just heard crying." The girl's eyes shimmered with tears. "My name, Zira. This is my mom, Lyra." Eli looked around quickly. If the junkyard guards found them, it would be over. Alien refugees were not allowed here. Many were hunted, sold, or worse. "Can you walk?" he asked gently. Lyra tried to stand, but groaned in pain. Zira looked up, shaking her head. "She's hurt. She can't move fast." Eli took a deep breath. "Okay, listen, don't speak, just follow me." He helped Lyra up, letting her lean on him, and led them through the scrap paths he knew well. Tunnels made by years of walking and hiding. They reached his shelter, an old maintenance cabin built into a pile of junk. It wasn't much, but it was warm. He pushed open the metal door and guided them inside. Zira looked around with wide eyes. The small space had a single bed, tools, food cans, and a heating rod. Eli pointed to the bed. "Let her lie down." Zira gently helped her mother onto it. Eli opened a can of nutrient paste and handed it to her. She took it with shaking hands and gave it to Lyra first. They ate in silence. Eli sat on the floor watching. Zira looked at him after a while. "Why are you helping us?" He shrugged. "I don't know. Maybe because no one helped me once." Zira tilted her head. "Are you alone?" "Yeah," he said softly. "Since the last war?" She nodded slowly. "We were from the Olari moon. But pirates came, my father, and he didn't make it. They called my mother useless, said we were trash." Eli clenched his fists. Trash. That word again. He had heard it too many times. He stood up. "You two stay here tonight, I'll find something better tomorrow. This place isn't safe for long." Zira's voice trembled. "Will you come back?" He paused at the door, then looked at her. "Yes. I'll come back." As he stepped outside, the wind howled again through the metal towers. But Eli didn't feel the cold anymore. That night, for the first time in a long time, his heart felt something warm. He wasn't just a scavenger anymore. He had found something more valuable than metal or parts. He had found a reason. The shelter of rust. The sun was hidden behind thick clouds, and the sky over the junkyard glowed with a dull yellow light. The wind carried the smell of burning wire and old fuel. Eli walked fast, his coat flapping behind him, his eyes sharp. He didn't sleep much last night. He kept thinking about Zira's face and her mother's bruised body. They were still in his old shelter, unsafe, unguarded. If the junkyard guards found them, there would be no second chances, and the guards were already suspicious. Yesterday, one of them saw Eli carrying extra food cans. Feeding scrap rats now, the guard joked. Eli had laughed it off. But inside he was nervous. Now he had a mission, a new purpose. Build them a home. A real one. Even if it was made from junk. He reached a forgotten corner of the junkyard, where no one ever searched anymore. The place was filled with wrecked farming machines, broken space cargo boxes, and an old hover van split in half. Perfect. Eli started gathering materials. Thick metal sheets, rusted but still strong. Hollow frames from old robots. A broken satellite dish that could collect solar power. He even found a shattered storage unit with working lights. He dragged everything to a hidden spot between two trash mountains. The perfect place to hide a home. For hours he worked with a welding torch, bolts, and bare hands. Sweat ran down his neck, and his fingers bled from sharp metal. But he didn't stop. He wasn't building for himself anymore, he was building for them. Back in the cabin, Zira sat next to her mother, holding a cloth against Lyra's wounded arm. The room was dark except for the soft glow from Eli's emergency lamp. Zira looked at the door every few minutes. She was scared, but also hopeful. "He said he'll come back," she whispered. Lyra's voice was soft. "Humans don't usually keep promises, child." Zira frowned. "But he's different. I think he's kind." Her mother closed her eyes, too tired to answer. When Eli returned, his arms full of supplies, Zira ran to the door. "You came back," she shouted. He smiled. "Told you I would." Then he looked around. "We can't stay here. It's not safe anymore." Zira helped her mother sit up. "Where will we go?" Eli knelt. "I made you something. Come with me." He carried Lyra on his back while Zira walked beside him. The path twisted through tall walls of scrap, the air tight with silence. Finally, they reached it. Zira gasped. In front of her stood a small shelter, made of metal walls, patched roof, and a sliding door. Inside, a small bed made from cushions, a place to sit, and even a working lamp made it glow softly. "It's not perfect," Eli said, scratching his head, "but it's yours now." Zira ran inside, touching everything. She flipped the switch and laughed when the lights blinked on. She lay on the cushion and looked up at the hanging wires, like stars. Her joy lit up the dark space. Lyra, still weak, smiled too. This is more than we had in years." Eli placed food packs on a shelf and stepped back. "This will keep you hidden," he said. "I'll bring water and more, tools later." Zira ran back and hugged him tightly. "Thank you, Eli." He froze for a second, then gently patted her head. But not far away, two guards were watching. From behind a scrap pile, one of them whispered, "That human's hiding someone." "Should we report it?" "Not yet," the other said. "Let's wait. There might be a reward for catching alien runaways." As night fell, Eli looked at the small home glowing softly between mountains of junk. Inside were two lives that once had no hope. Now they had a chance, a place made from rust, but filled with something stronger than steel, kindness. End of Part 2. The Shelter of Rust. Let me know when you're ready for Part 3. She touched the stars. It will continue Zira's emotional journey as she discovers light, learning, and a new dream. You said, start with Part 3, more unique. ChatGPT said, title, he found a poor alien girl and her mom in the junkyard, then the human. Built them a home out of scrap. Part 3, she touched the stars. Word count, 800 style, third person, simple basic English, unique, emotional, uplifting, plus. Suspenseful. The junkyard nights were cold, but Zira felt warm. She lay on the cushion bed Eli made from old ship, seats staring up at the ceiling. Little glass pieces hung from above, turning the soft lamplight into small dancing stars. She reached her hand toward them. I can touch the stars now, she whispered to herself. Her mother, Lyra, smiled weakly from the corner. No stars ever shined on our kind little one, but maybe now they do. For the first time since her father died, Zira giggled. Eli's metal hut wasn't big, it wasn't pretty, but it was the safest place they had ever known. Outside, Eli worked again, this time silently. He was building a second wall around the shelter using junk droids' bodies, turning them into defense panels. He even wired an old solar camera above the door. He didn't speak much, but every time Zira smiled, he smiled back. Just for a second, then got back to work. He brought them food each morning. He brought tools, small gifts, even a broken reader tablet. He tried to fix it every night. One evening he handed the device to Zira. "Try now," he said, sitting beside her, on the cushion. Zira pressed the button. The screen flickered, then glowed. Words appeared in Earth English. "Welcome to Galaxy Reader Basic. Learn, grow, imagine." Zira gasped. Her fingers traced the glowing letters. What is this?" "It's a learning pad," Eli explained. "Teaches reading, history, even star names." Zira looked up at him. "You're giving this to me?" Eli nodded. "Every child should learn something, even here." For the next few days, Zira didn't stop reading. She learned how Earth had blue oceans, that humans once flew using wings made of cloth, that stars were not lights in the sky but giant burning suns. She learned about kindness too, about humans who helped others even when they had nothing. She began to ask questions. "Eli, can stars die?" "Yes," he said, welding something. "But they shine bright before they do." She smiled. "Then I'll shine like a star." But shadows moved around them. The two guards who had been spying from afar returned at night. They searched the area near Eli's hut while he was away. They didn't find Zira or Lyra, thanks to the hidden trapdoor Eli had made under a large junk panel. But they left something behind a small red tag, a warning, a silent message, we know. When Eli saw it, his face turned hard. He didn't say much. But that night he reinforced the shelter's door with ship armor. He also placed a hidden alarm, an old vibration sensor, to detect footsteps near the shelter. Zira noticed the change. "Are we in danger again?" she asked. Eli didn't lie. "Yes." Zira looked down. "Will you leave us too, like others did?" Eli stared at her, then gently put his hand on her shoulder. "I'm not like them." She nodded, trying to be brave. "Then I won't be scared." That night, Zira opened the tablet and found a story about humans planting trees in dry places. She turned to her mother and said, "We're like one of those trees growing in dry, broken land." Lyra smiled faintly. "And Eli is the water." Zira reached up to the hanging glass lights again. "I can touch the stars now, because someone let me try." But far away, someone had already reported them. A message had been sent to Junk District Authority. Illegal shelter activity confirmed. Alien fugitives present. Human accomplice suspected. The junkyard wasn't going to stay quiet for long. But for now, in the middle of metal and ruin, a child had begun to believe in stars again, the law of scrap. The junkyard used to ignore Eli. To the workers and guards, he was just another silent man digging through trash, alone, harmless, forgettable. But now, eyes were turning. Too many. Food cans missing. Too many tools unaccounted for. Too many whispers. And the junkyard boss, a thick-jawed brute named Karn, didn't like whispers. That morning, Eli entered the scrapyard office to trade a pile of old tech. Karn leaned over the counter, arms crossed. "You've been busy lately, Eli." Eli stayed calm. "I trade. That's what I do." Karn squinted. "Sure. But trading what? Scrap or secrets?" Eli didn't reply. Karn gave a sharp smile. "There's talk. Some say you've been feeding ghosts." Eli picked up his tools and turned to leave. But Karn called out, "You know the law, right? Junkyard Code 7. Any alien refugees found hiding are property of the district, and anyone helping them." Eli paused at the door. "Gets thrown into the grinder with them." Back at the hidden shelter, Zira played quietly, stacking pieces of polished metal like puzzle blocks. She had made a small toy animal, a junk dog, she called it. It had one glowing eye and two mismatched legs. Lyra watched her daughter, with tired but peaceful eyes. Her wounds had healed better thanks to Eli's medicine stash, but when Eli returned that night, his face was dark. "We have a problem," he said. He showed them the red warning tag again. This time it had Karn's symbol burned into it. Zira held Lyra's hand tightly. "Will they take us?" Eli shook his head. "Not if I can stop them." The next day, Eli didn't just scavenge, he built. He connected wires from broken defense droids, rigged them to scrap metal panels, and powered them with a salvaged solar core. He made an alarm bell that would ring inside the shelter if anyone approached from 30 feet away. Zira helped carry small parts. Lyra helped clean and organize. This time it wasn't just Eli protecting them. They were helping protect each other. At night, around a flickering heat lamp, Zira asked a question. "Why do humans have laws like this? Why do they hate us?" Eli looked at the glowing coals. "Not all humans hate aliens, but the people in power, they only see value in what they can sell." Zira's voice was quiet. "What are we worth?" Eli met her eyes. "To them? Nothing. To me? Everything." But the storm was coming. Karn had sent 2 guards to search Sector 9 the next morning. They carried scanners and stun rods. They didn't find the shelter yet, but they found the trail, footprints, scrap pieces, food wrappers. One of the guards picked up a small polished bolt. "A child made this," he muttered. The other guard smirked. "Bounties going up." Eli knew time was short. He gathered Zira and Lyra inside the shelter and handed them both small earpieces made from junk comms. "If I tell you to run," he said, "follow the left path through the scrap wall. Don't stop. There's a hidden tunnel." Zira nodded. "And you?" "I'll keep them busy." Lyra's voice cracked. "You don't have to fight for us." Eli stared at her. Then Zira. "I'm not fighting for you," he said. "I'm fighting with you." That night, the wind blew harder. The metal towers in the junkyard groaned, and under the cover of darkness, the guards returned. They weren't knocking this time. They came with scanners, flashlights, and orders. Find the alien scum and bring the human too. The law of scrap was clear. Aliens were trash. Helpers were worse. But Eli had already chosen his side, and this time he wasn't just a scavenger. He was their shield. Storm over metal. The sky turned black without warning. Thunder cracked through, the junkyard like metal breaking in half. A thick storm cloud rolled over the towers of scrap, carrying electric winds and acid rain. Sector 9 had seen storms before, but not like this. Eli stood on top of a broken satellite dish, tightening the roof of the shelter with thick bolts. Rain had just started to fall, sizzling as it hit the metal around him. He worked fast. His hands were shaking, not from the cold but from fear. The guards were coming. He knew it. The red mark from Karn was no longer a threat. It was a promise, and now the storm was helping them hide their approach. Inside the shelter, Zira held her mother's hand tightly. The walls around them creaked as wind slammed into the scrap panels. A leak had started near the corner. Water dripped onto the small pile of learning tablets and food cans. Lyra looked up weakly. "The storm's getting worse. This place might not hold." Zira shook her head. "Eli will fix it. He always does." But deep down, even Zira felt fear creeping in. Lightning flashed. For a brief second, Eli saw 2 shapes in the distance. Dark uniforms, heavy boots, junkyard guards. They were using the storm as cover. Eli jumped down from the roof, landing hard on the metal floor. He didn't stop. He ran to the alarm switch and pressed it. Inside the shelter, a soft buzzing sound played in Lyra's earpiece. She looked at Zira. "It's time." Zira opened the trapdoor under the bed, just like Eli had shown them. A tunnel dug through layers of junk waited below, barely wide enough to crawl through. They hesitated. But then Zira whispered, "We trust him." And they crawled inside, sealing the door above them. Eli stepped into the rain with nothing but his welding torch and a long steel pipe. He stood in front of the shelter like a statue, soaked but unshaken. The two guards approached, shouting over the storm. "Step aside, Eli, we know what you're hiding." "I'm hiding nothing," Eli said flatly. The taller guard raised a shock baton. "Liar. You broke Junkyard law, you fed fugitives, gave them shelter, that's treason." Eli gripped the pipe tighter. "Then come take me." The first swing came fast. Eli dodged, slamming his pipe against the guard's shoulder. Sparks flew. The second guard tackled him, and they crashed into the mud. Lightning lit up the sky as metal clashed with metal. Eli's nose bled. His hand got sliced open, but he didn't stop. He fought like a machine. Like every strike was meant for something bigger than him. Because it was. Underground, Zira crawled with her mother through the narrow tunnel. The storm sounded like monsters above, loud, violent, unstoppable. "Is Eli okay?" Zira asked, voice shaking. Lyra paused. "He's strong," Zira whispered. "He's not just strong. He's brave." Back above, Eli knocked one guard into a pile of scrap, then turned, just as the second guard hit him hard in the back. He fell to his knees, coughing. The guard raised the shock baton again. But something strange happened. A shadow loomed behind the guard. From the junk pile, a defense droid, half dead, barely working. But Eli had rewired it last week. With a weak spark, the droid's arm lifted and blasted a flashlight beam into the guard's face. Blinded, the man stumbled right into Eli's pipe. One hit, then another. The guard dropped. Eli stood, bleeding, gasping, but standing. The storm began to fade. The sky turned dark blue again. Rain slowed, and just as the wind died, the trapdoor opened nearby. Zira peeked out, her eyes wide. "Eli!" He turned slowly. He was covered in mud, blood, and cuts, but he smiled. "They didn't get you," he said. Zira ran to him and hugged his legs tightly. "You saved us." He gently placed a hand on her back. "You're my family now, and family is worth fighting for." That night, Eli patched the holes in the roof. Zira sat beside her mother, drying the learning pad with a cloth. Outside, the junkyard was quiet again, but something had changed. Not just the storm, not just Eli, but the feeling in the air. For the first time, the shelter was more than a hiding place, it was home. The mechanic's stand. The junkyard wasn't silent anymore. Everyone had heard about the storm fight. Rumors moved faster than electricity. 2 guards beaten, 1 injured, 1 vanished, and 1 man stood in the middle of it. Eli the scavenger. No, one called him forgettable now. They called him mad, dangerous, brave. And Karn, the junkyard boss, had heard enough. Eli sat in his shelter, wrapping the last bandage around his ribs. His hands were sore. His back hurt. But his eyes burned with purpose. Zira sat across from him, quiet but watching. Her little fingers held a broken bolt like it was a treasure. She finally asked, "Will they send more?" Eli didn't answer right away. Then he said, "No, they'll send him." Zira's eyes widened. "The boss?" Eli nodded. Lyra, resting in the back, opened her eyes. "Then we must leave. Tonight." Eli looked at the home he had built. Walls of scrap, love and resistance. "I won't run," he said. "Not anymore." Outside the shelter, Karn arrived with a crawler unit. An armored junk loader turned into a moving prison. 4 guards stood around it, weapons in hand. Karn stepped out, thick arms crossed, face full of anger. He didn't knock, he shouted, "Eli, step out now, I'm done playing games." Inside, Zira flinched. Eli stood. He picked up his plasma wrench, not a weapon, but something better. A symbol, the tool of a builder, of a protector. He stepped outside slowly, facing Karn under the gray. "Sky, I don't hide," Eli said. Karn laughed. "You're a fool. You think this shelter matters? You think those aliens matter? They're nothing." Eli's voice stayed calm. They mattered to someone, that's enough. Karn stepped closer. You could have had peace. Scrap your medals. Mind your business. But now, you'll die beside. You're garbage. Eli raised the wrench. This isn't garbage, this is home, and I'll defend it. Karn didn't wait. He pointed. The guards rushed forward, but Eli was ready. He flipped the hidden switch, activating the droid parts he installed days ago. Scrap metal walls shot upward, blocking the path. Solar panels lit up, blinding the guards for a moment. Then Eli moved. Fast. Focused. Like a storm in human skin. He struck one guard in the leg, twisting away from the second. He used the wrench like a hammer, knocking weapons from hands. The defense trap Zira helped him build earlier, a rolling crate filled with nails, slammed into a third guard's legs. Zira peeked from the door, holding a small light beacon Eli gave her. "Now, Zira!" he shouted. She tossed the beacon. Right, under the crawler's belly. The EMP spark flashed. The crawler shorted out with a loud zap. Lights off, door locked. Karn roared and charged at Eli. The ground shook as the two men collided. Karn slammed Eli into a pile of old steel. Fists like hammers. But Eli pushed back, not with strength, but with will. He jabbed his elbow into Karn's throat, then swung the wrench with all he had left. Karn fell back, dazed. Eli limped forward, bleeding and bruised. "You rule with fear," he said. "But I've seen something stronger," Karn growled, reaching for a fallen shock baton. Eli didn't back down. "She trusted me," Eli continued. "That little girl. She believed I would protect her." Karn lunged. Eli swung. Crack. Karn dropped, face first into the dust. The guards, beaten and confused, stared at Eli. He stood tall, holding the wrench like a sword. "If you ever come back," he said, voice like fire, "you'll find more than metal waiting." Later, when the dust settled, Zira ran to him. She hugged him tight, her small arms shaking. "You didn't run," she whispered. He looked down at her, tears in his eyes. "I couldn't. This is our home." And from that day on, the junkyard changed. People began to whisper Eli's name, not with fear but with respect. The man who stood up. The mechanic who made a stand. Home of heart, not metal. The junkyard was never meant for dreams. It was a place where broken things were thrown away, where people looked down instead of up. But now, deep inside Sector 9, something had changed. Not just the piles of scrap, not just the rules, but the people. Because one man chose to build a home, instead of walking away. It had been 3 weeks since Eli's stand against Karn. The junkyard boss never returned. His crawler unit remained rusted and forgotten at the edge of the sector. The guards who once hunted aliens now walked silently past Eli's area, heads down, eyes averted. No one challenged him again. Some said he was dangerous. Others said he was mad. But everyone agreed on one thing. Eli had courage. Inside the shelter, the changes were clear. Zira now had her own bed made from padded salvage. Her wall was decorated with drawings, stars, planets, and a little stick figure holding a wrench beside 2 smiling aliens. She had named the drawing, "My Family." Lyra moved more now. Her wounds had healed. She helped Eli wire lights, sort tools, and organize the growing shelter. She even laughed once, and Zira cried when she heard it. "I missed your laugh," the girl whispered. "So did I." Lyra smiled. One evening, Eli returned with something special. It was a working comlink, rare and expensive, found buried in a damaged Explorer drone. Zira looked at it, confused. "Is it for calling someone?" Eli shook his head. "It's for listening." He turned it on. A gentle sound came from the speaker, a recording of Earth music, a soft piano playing a song about home and hope. Zira closed her eyes and leaned against her mother. "I like it," she said. Lyra nodded. "It sounds like peace." The next day, something unexpected happened. A small group arrived, Junk workers, scavengers, even a few aliens in hiding. One man held a broken hover fan. Another brought a dented power cell. They stood outside Eli's shelter, nervous. One spoke. "We heard what you did. We want to help build." Eli looked at them, surprised. "You sure?" he asked. They nodded. "This place, it feels safe now." Eli stepped aside. "Then let's build something better." And they did. Walls were reinforced. A water filter system was added. A learning corner was set up with more tablets powered by a working solar dish. A second shelter was made for newcomers, scrap refugees like Zira and her mother. Zira named the new space Star Nest, because in the middle of metal and fire, something soft had grown, something alive. One evening, Zira stood on a tower of stacked parts, looking at the sunset. Eli climbed up beside her. She pointed at the sky. "Do you think my father is out there? Somewhere in the stars?" Eli thought for a moment. "Maybe. But even if he's not, I think he'd be proud of who you are becoming." Zira looked at him. "You saved us." Eli shook his head. "No, you gave me something to protect. That saved me." Below, people laughed and worked together, aliens and humans side by side. Children played with homemade robots. Mothers cooked simple meals on scrap burners. Old scavengers told stories under hanging lights made from plasma tubes. A village had formed, not built from money, not from power, but from hands, hearts, and hope. Zira leaned her head on Eli's shoulder and whispered, "We were thrown away. But you gave us a place." Eli smiled, watching the junkyard glow with warm light. "I didn't build this alone," he said. "We all did. Because home isn't walls. It's not metal or machines. It's the people who choose to stay.